This is The Fifth Estate, a conversation between young African scholars from the Fort Hall School of Government and Professor Mutahi Ngunyi. This Sunday, we submit that after losing the election, Raila is suffering from the Samsonian blues. This thought is drawn from the Holy Bible, and it is one we have used in the past, but we need to repeat it. When the Philistines arrested and cornered Samson, they tied him to the pillars of the temple. Like Raila today, Samson was low. They had removed his eyes and humiliated him beyond. He was at ground zero. His best bet was to end his useless life. And in this Samsonian moment, he summoned all his strength, brought down the pillars that tied him, and collapsed the temple with everyone in it. By this action, Samson destroyed himself and his coalition partners as well. In our view, Raila is at this Samsonian moment. He is at his lowest. He is suicidal. And the question we ask is this: should he collapse the temple with all of us in it? Zero. This is the best time to finish him once and for all.
We celebrate the victory of President Uhuru Kenyatta. At the Fort Hall School of Government, we placed our bets on him, and he did not disappoint. Bravo, sir. We are proud of you. However, and as Niccolo Machiavelli taught us, getting to the top is never the problem. Staying at the top is the problem. For the last 4 years, Raila has disorganized Uhuru with menacing pleasure. If allowed to regroup, he will be twice as menacing and twice as poisonous to our national psyche. To stay at the top, therefore, Uhuru must destroy Raila without mercy. He must show him no mercy, for he shall receive none from Raila. Now that Raila is down, Uhuru must finish him with finality. As Machiavelli taught us, when you injure an enemy, your injury should be such that you are not afraid of his vengeance. But we have a problem here. If Uhuru destroys Raila completely, which he must, what happens to the 6.7 million voters who follow Raila? We have a thought.
Before we talk about the 6.7 million victims of Raila's lies, we must paraphrase something Nikita Khrushchev taught us about revolutions. He taught us that if you preach revolution for the first day without results, the crowds will shout, "Tibim!" If you preach revolution for the second day without results, the crowds will shout, "Tialala!" If you preach revolution for the third day without results, the crowds will shout, "Swa!" But if you preach revolution for the fourth day without results, the crowds will tell you, "To hell with you." And this is what Wetangula meant when he told us that Baba was firing blanks. Raila had preached revolution to us 3 times, and each time he did it, we shouted, "Tibim!" But as we waited for the results, it turned out that the Tibim moment was nothing more but a moment of firing blanks. And instead of admitting the Wetangula claim that Baba is politically impotent, Raila has blamed his rare political disease on thieves. He has convinced the country that he is potent and that Uhuru is a thief who stole his mojo. If this was not sad, it would have been laughable.
Today, I will give Raila Odinga unsolicited advice, and I'm fully aware that to give unsolicited advice is rude, but I'll give it to him all the same. Number 1, he has no option but to concede defeat. And if he concedes defeat, he will regroup, and he will save face locally and internationally. Similarly, if he regroups, he will also maintain status quo, and he will be just fine. But the option he seems to have taken is to go underground. And this option is one in which we are not even sure whether the man has vanished or whether he is still in Kenya. The problem with this is that it fuels some kind of speculation around the country, whether he is here or not and what he is most likely to do. One of my biggest worries here is his fascination with the military. In the past, he has accused Uhuru Kenyatta of planning to install himself using the military. And the question we need to throw back to Raila is simple. Is he gone underground in search of a military solution to his defeat? And is the violence across the country part of this particular plan and solution? If Raila does not concede, in my view, then the country must show him no mercy, because Raila will show the country no mercy either. And there must be that reciprocal relationship, in my view.
If we retire Raila with no mercy, what will we do with half the country that voted for him? At the Fort Hall School of Government, our position is this: to lock out half the country for 5 years because they supported Raila is to engage in constitutional nonsense. In our view, Uhuru's first order of business is to finish Raila completely. But his second order of business is to change the constitution in order to accommodate the losers in future. You see, our constitution is a ceasefire document. We were bullied by Raila and Kibaki to accept it because we were afraid of war. But now we have demystified war. We know that war is a lie. And if war is a lie, why keep a ceasefire constitution in order to prevent a war that did not come and will not come? It does not make sense. Here is my point. This election has presented us with a constitutional moment, and Uhuru must seize the moment. The dominant must not lord it over the dominated through a misengineered constitution. Ways of accommodating the wounded 6.7 million voters must be sought at zero option.
And now our final thought. It is not over until it is over. Uhuru's victory is just a comma. It has no full stop yet. The full stop will be put by Justice Maraga. Let me explain. Raila told us that he will not go to court. In our view, he lied again. He will either go directly or send an emissary. And according to the Constitution, a petition challenging Uhuru's victory must be launched by latest Friday, 18th August. The Supreme Court will then hear the petition and make a determination not later than Saturday, 1st September. For the next 28 days, therefore, Uhuru's victory will be tested in the Supreme Court. And we have no idea what kind of evidence Raila has collected. If the courts rule that the election was valid, then Uhuru will be sworn in on September 12th. If the courts rule that the election was invalid, a fresh election will be held 60 days later, on 1st of November. Yes, we could have a fresh election after an Uhuru victory. In this situation, the election could continue until February 2018. And this is why we say it is not over until it is over.